We are back on the farm for another day, and the theme of today's video is going to be steady progress. What you're going to see is not any dramatic leap forward or any huge revelation in the small farming space. This is going to be me committing to the work and going through the day-to-day tasks to push this project forward. If you watched last video, you saw me go in a big chunk of debt trying to get my grass field set up. I had a number in my head that I thought it would cost me, around 60 or 70 grand, to get everything up and running. I think the total all in was about 140. Terrible estimation on my part, and left me with about 70K of a loan that I've still got to pay back. It's crazy how, just like in real life, a debt in this game is an absolute anchor on the progress you want to make. Thankfully in the game, the interest isn't too egregious. I kinda wish it was, and maybe there's some kind of mod I could pick up, or maybe I could just play the right way, so interest did cost more. But all the progress, all the produce that I sell, the eggs that I sell, the wool, the contracts, all that's gonna keep me running in place rather than pushing anything forward, because I have this huge debt hanging over my head. And sure, I do have assets now. I've got a field, tractor, mower, windrower, tedder, and some hay bales to show for it, but it all feels tiny. And what I'm going to find out in today's video is that bales of hay really don't sell for that much money. It's going to take a very long time for this grass operation to actually become profitable, unless, of course, I go for maybe silage, which obviously is another huge investment. This workday began with the baling operation. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know why, but I was picturing much bigger bales. Even though looking at the size of this baler, how could they ever be bigger? I actually do see this becoming a problem if I get a bigger field. Even the field that is directly next to the one that I currently own, looks like it's about 2.5 times the size of mine. I mean, this field, the small one, already produced about 20 bales of hay, I think. I'm bad at estimating. And I had to pick up every single one by hand, load, and then unload back at the shed, which again, I guess is what happens in real life. But I can see this being quite arduous in the game. It may make me reconsider what I'm going to do as I expand the operations, but of course at this rate, that's probably really far away. A cool thing I'm excited for is I actually get to use the shed, which is next to my animals, to be a hay shed. I've actually never made use of a building functionally in Farming Simulator, and I said this time is different. Downside is that when they were programming this game, the pickup object button is the exact same as the open close door button, and truly I'm not offended at this, but pushing the O button anywhere near a door will make it open and close, which is a real problem for trying to stack hay by the door, because it makes the door open and close every single time, and that seems like a problem. Later on, I'm going to have to make a switch. Now, I do like the kindness of having the button open the door in the general vicinity. That seems helpful for most cases. In this case, it doesn't work for me. Definitely going to need some kind of open bay because I want to stack a lot of hay in here. I think the goal is to expand the animal operation and expand the grass storage. And at some point when I get so much that I would never run out, I'll start selling a lot more. With the hay stacked up, it's time to end that day, and that means beginning a new one, and that means going about the usual chores, staying ahead of watering my garden plots, making sure there's plenty of seed and fertilizer. I think what I have for now is plenty. One thing I do need to do is figure out how much fertilizer and seed I'm using on garden plots and what kind of cost it actually has to this point. I've just been buying it and dropping it in to make sure I have enough. I'm not sure what kind of return I'm getting on the produce. I mean, I don't know how many units of each fertilizer and seed produces how many dollars of crops, and that feels like something that I would like to know going forward. I mean, it's clearly profitable, but is one more profitable than the other? I'm not quite sure, and that is worth investigating. It is nice to see my garden plots are producing about 30K per month in revenue, and that's without me taking into account any of the costs, not even counting construction at all. We'll call that a sunk cost. But the ongoing seed and fertilizer, I gotta figure out that profit margin. The animals are healthy and well fed, and what is quite pleasing to see is that it looks like my chickens are already reproducing. I got more baby chicks, which means that this chicken pasture, both of which started off not even a third full, in very short order, could be very fully populated. In this video, I'm gonna sell some eggs, even though the pallet's not all the way full. I want to sell some to get a sense of the money, and the money's pretty good. So as this ramps up, I can see a lot coming out of this, even though I haven't quite done the math for wheat to egg. Wheat, of course, being the chicken feed, I think this could become a pretty profitable venture that I want to expand some more, especially if I get a wheat going. But I guess that means I need a lot more like a harvester. Well, never mind. Maybe later on. I got a couple of nice hefty contracts in October for plowing and cultivating, which are some of the ones that I love because if the margin is good enough, I just completely offload that to an AI worker. I call it subcontracting in my head canon, and I let them do their things. I'll take over some chunks if I get really bored and I have nothing else to do, but I can get them going and do my work today and then come back to it and finish the job. I do still wish I had something else to do midday. Right now, part of what I'm struggling with is settling into the foreseeable future. It's going to be a rotation of me selling my produce for about 10 grand per day, paying off some debt, and then doing contracts here and there to get me out of the debt. And I feel like that cycle is going to go on for a pretty long time, which I shouldn't really be opposed to because that's how reality would be like. And the entire point of this run is to slow down. It's just such a huge departure from my usual farming simulator runs where I would slow down time, like I said, do everything, max out 500K in debt immediately to buy fields that are ready to harvest, make sure I had just enough to have tractors, and then make infinite money all in the first 2 months. I like the more grounded realism. It's just, like I said, a big departure. And the one thing that would make this better was just more stuff to do during the day. I think in Farming Simulator, I was cutting down trees on my property, but I like these trees. They're pretty. I don't want to lose them. I gotta be honest, I didn't feel like I had a ton to do in this video, and at first I was unsure of how to proceed, but then I remembered that that is the point of this run. That's the point of this series. It's to, instead of blasting through, stressing myself out, trying to min-max, trying to be the best the entire way, it's taking it day by day at a simple, somewhat realistic pace. And some days that means I'm not going to get to make a ton of progress because that's what this kind of project would actually be like. Once I realized that, I took a deep breath. It just cruised it out. I said, you know what? Things are going to be okay. And oh yeah, I do like the 6x timescale for right now. This feels perfect. It gives me just enough push to not stand around doing nothing. But even if I'm still being halfway lazy, I can still have my workday done by 1 o'clock. Hopefully that picks up soon, where I'm really pushing until the late evening. But until then, we're just going through. And that brings us to the end of today's video. It's a slow, intentional, peaceful farming simulator run, and I'm glad you're enjoying it so far. Pretty soon, I'll be able to expand the farm, open to your suggestions on what you think makes the most sense on where to take this. If you haven't subscribed, please do so if you can, and if not, I'm sure I'll still see you next time. On behalf of all of us here at Mediocre Industries, you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.